make some profits this week. Hey, good morning, traders. Today is June 29th, 2026. My name is Coach Kerrigan, lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That's a day trading service for the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you everybody out there in social media for subscribing to my content, liking my content, following my content. Big shout out to everybody that shares the content. Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, Ed Carter, Rick Sadler. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Love that. Helping get the good word out there to the World Wide Web. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. See how we can. We'll take a look at the summary from last week and see how we can make some profits here this morning. All right, so my SPY pivot this morning, 732.10. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. IWM, lower high, lower low, closed over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, closed inside a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. SPY, FNGU, QQQ all made lower highs, lower lows, closing under bearish traps under their 17 EMAs. SPY closed with a 10-minute downtrend and a 2-hour downtrend. Gold and silver made higher lows and higher highs, closing inside their bearish traps but still under their 17 EMAs. UNG in an uptrend made a higher low and a higher high, closed over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. USO in a downtrend made a lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the falling 17. US dollar index says near 101.50 area. Not too sure about that. I'll have to take a look at it in a minute. SPY max pain today is 733. Put the call ratio of under 1 put for each call that expires today at 4:15. Remember, index options expire 4:15. Security options expire at 4. The main event this week will be a speech from FOMC Chairman Warsh. That's on Wednesday at 9 in the morning. Probably be a little bit of volatility wrapped into that. And the employment situation at 8:30 on Thursday. We have a short week this week. It's only 4 days. We're going to be honoring 4th of July on the 4th of July, of course. So we'll be taking off on the 3rd. If this is your first time seeing this, all of these over here on the left side are in bullish daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. All of these over here on the right are going to be bearish daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they got a little star next to it, they're probably building out a launch pad over here on this side, or a bull flag from which to launch higher. If you got a little star next to it here, they're building out a platform or a bear flag from which to dive lower. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. This is from last week. Pull up the 10-minute. Okay, you can see on the 10-minute, we've got the sticks and the 3 riding underneath the falling 8. So we got a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close yesterday. Not too sure about this candle. Shows up on some charts, on some time frames, others it doesn't. So there's SPY on the 10-minute downtrend coming into the close on Friday. Okay, on the 2-hour chart, we got the sticks and the 3 riding underneath the 8. All right, so we got ourselves 2-hour downtrend or bearish consolidation. Kind of see we kind of cross there, or we get close to crossing. So bearish consolidation coming into the close on Friday. On the daily candle, okay, so let's move this up out of the way here. On the daily candle, lower high, lower low, closed under a bearish trap under the flat 17 EMA. Still in quadrant 4, so that's bullish. All right, and not too sure if this candle counts or if it doesn't. If it does, we made a lower low and we're in a downtrend. Okay, if it doesn't, I think we're still in that uptrend there. So we'll see what happens here. But that's it's kind of ominous there with that making a lower low, because that definitely put it into a downtrend. I think that's a bad tick, but I did see some trades down there. So I don't know. So SPY on the daily chart, okay, so we're bullish because we're up here in quadrant 4, and I'm just going to call it a bad tick or a fat finger trade and I'm going to call it it's still in an uptrend, all right, for SPY on the daily chart. We'll see if they see if this candle changes tomorrow. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Weekly still bullish and in an uptrend here. Still up in quadrant 4. Haven't made any lower lows depending upon that one candle. Monthly chart still bullish and in an uptrend. There's SPY. Let's take a look at QQQ. We'll start back here on the 10-minute chart. You got the sticks and the 3 riding underneath the 8. So we got 10-minute downtrend coming into the close on the QQQ 2-hour chart. Sticks and the 3 riding underneath the 8. 2-hour downtrend coming into the close on Friday on the daily candle. Lower high, lower low. See, it didn't show up here. That's why I don't think it's real, but you never know. Okay, so lower high, lower low, closed under a bearish trap under the 17, still in quadrant 4, so that's bullish. Haven't made a lower low yet here on the QQQ, so we're bullish and still in an uptrend. We're not moving up. We seem to be melting off or moving over to the right, okay, for QQQ and SPY. Kind of showing us a little head and shoulders pattern, all right? I got to mention it now that I see it. This being the head, of course, that'd be the right shoulder, left shoulder over here. So there's QQQ. All right, go back to SPY on the daily. Again, showing us that head and shoulders pattern. That'd be the left shoulder. That'd be the right shoulder. Again, not too sure about this tick. On QQQ, it didn't get down this far, but SPY, it did. I don't know what took us there, but I think it was just a fat finger trade. So I'm going to just say it's still in an uptrend right there. And we'll see if this is still here tomorrow, again, on SPY. Let's take a look at IWM. They have a tendency to clean up that crap within a day or two. So we'll see what happens. And that happened at the end of the day. IWM, lower high, lower low. We closed over a bullish trap over the rising 17. On Thursday, made a new all-time high. Friday, not too far off that all-time high. Still bullish, top of quadrant 4. Still bullish and in an uptrend on IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Again, just like the others, lower high, lower low. We closed inside a bearish trap over the rising 17, middle of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish, still in an uptrend on Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at FNGU. And for FNGU, lower high, lower low, closed under a bearish trap under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're down here at the top of quadrant 2. That's going to be neutral. And you can see we got some lows. We made some lower lows. So we're still in a downtrend on FNGU. Neutral and in a downtrend for FNGU. Let's take a look at silver and gold. Silver and gold made higher lows and higher highs, closing under bearish traps or inside bearish traps, under their falling 17s, under their all-time high anchored VWAPs. Silver manages closing in quadrant 2, gold in 3. We'll visit gold in a second. Here's silver down here in the middle of quadrant 2, almost down here to the lower third. That's going to be bearish down there. Right now, they're neutral. They're not there yet, but they're getting close, aren't they? Silver is neutral, all right, and still in a downtrend. You can see we got low, a low, a low, another low, another low, another low here. We're making lower lows, so we're obviously still in a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. Silver neutral and still in a downtrend. Let's take a look at gold. Okay, gold got the higher low, the higher high, closed in the bearish trap under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. We'll pan out here. You can see we're not in quadrant 2 like silver was. We're in quadrant 3, so middle of quadrant 3. We're not in the upper third, so that's not bullish. So this is neutral, and you can see all these lows. We made lower lows, so neutral and in a downtrend for gold on the daily chart. Okay, let's take a look at USO and UNG. Here's USO. Lower high, lower low, closed under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, closed underneath the midpoint here. All right, so this is going to be neutral, all right, because we're not down in the lower third down here. Okay, we're still in the middle area, so neutral, and you can see all of these lows that poke below the 17, and we made lower lows, so we're in a downtrend. So USO neutral and in a downtrend, just like silver and gold. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG got a higher low, got a higher high, got a closed over bullish trap over that rising 17. So that's an uptrend right here. We got some lows, and we're making higher lows. We're in the middle of quadrant 1. Let me pan out so you can see down here. Here's the quad lines. That's that 14-month high over there. All right, so we're in quadrant 1. So we're bearish because we're in the lower third, but we're in an uptrend. So bearish and in an uptrend for UNG on the daily chart. Let's take a look at internals. Started off with T2101. Market internals, looking for an increase in market breadth and participation. Not seeing a lot of it. Just kind of moved to the side yesterday. We did get some increase on that last candle that was kind of flaky. Not sure if that was real or not. We'll find out next, maybe tomorrow. So there's T2101, T2101 on 15-minute chart. Again, we're down here almost in the reversal zone area, way down here, because we're getting close down there. We're consolidating down here at the lows. All right, T2101. Very little participation in the market. Very little breadth in the market. There's T2101. Let's take a look at T2102. This is going to be a bearish clue for me. Okay, so bearish clue. Didn't make any higher highs from the day before. All right, I'm not going to count that candle because I don't even know if it's right or not. I think it's a bad tick, but anyways, not going to see anything there. So right here. All right, so didn't make higher highs, so that's a bearish clue for me. T2122 made a higher low here. Got a low, made a higher low, made a higher high. Spent quite a bit of the day in the buy zone. That's going to be end over the midpoint, so showing me bullish control right there. So that's going to be bullish clue for me right there. It's kind of strange. You go back to T2101. Now look, the last candle of the day for SPY went down. All right, but the last candle for T2101 went up. All right, so again, there's that market breadth there. Okay, so was everybody piling on to that trip down, or what happened? Did we run some stops? That's what it kind of looks like. T2122, just trying to figure it out. T2122, again, I'm going to give this to the bulls. Obviously, they spent the whole day over the 50-yard line right here. I would call out anything above this bullish control, bearish control underneath. We made higher lows and higher highs. Great job on the bulls' part. T2123. Okay, so we got a little bullish gap up and a run and a rip. Again, you got that increase at the end of the day. That's a bullish outlook for this week. All right, seeing that big ramp up. I don't know. Is that a new all-time high? I just got to see. It's got to be close. It's real close to being an all-time high right there. I'll investigate later on. Get a closer look. Anyways, bullish gap up, moves back, pulls back, holds that higher ground over yesterday's price action. So that's bullish. We're up over that rising or flat 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bull, and they're getting it done right there, attacking those all-time highs. So there's T2123 on the 15-minute chart. If I put the quad lines on there, it's obviously going to be at the very top of quadrant 4. And I can still see that line right there. This is looking close, so this one cuts up through it, so not quite yet. Very close, though. T2123, top of quadrant 4, it's going to be bullish. And you can see a low, you can see the higher lows, and you can see the highs and making higher highs. So bullish and in an uptrend. 15-minute chart for T2123. All right, this is looking good. We may visit the top line of the SPY triangle. I'll go show you the SPY triangle if you didn't see it when I opened it up earlier. Let's take a look at T2123, big chart. Let's see what we got here. How close are we? I'm just curious. We don't need both of these. This high is 4,185. This high is, yeah, I can still see just a little bit of daylight there, so not quite. That's close. That's close. They probably nail it today. All right, 3-bar chart, top of quadrant 4. It's going to be bullish. All right, over the rising 200 or flat 200 SMA, that's going to be bullish. That's where you want to be if you're a bull. Holding the higher ground. Look at this nice bull flag. All right, that's a 2-month bull flag right there. All right, looking for some new highs. Got that little ramp up going on right there, looking like a breakout is imminent soon. So there's T2123, 3-bar chart. That's going to be bullish and in an uptrend. And let's take a look at FNGU. And on FNGU, we got the 15-minute chart down here. So on FNGU, we've got, let's look at this compared to the day before. I see you move down and over to the right. Just looking at the picture here, I'm not seeing any bullishness out of there. Did they make some higher highs? I think they did. They got a high here. All right, and then we made a low. See the low right here? And then we ripped up here and made a high. And after making that higher high, all right, that's going to be an uptrend. We did not come back and make a lower low. So we're ending the day for the FNGU, all right, in an uptrend. Not moving up far, but they did manage to ink out an uptrend. They're under the 200 SMA, okay? That's not where you want to be if you're a bull. If you're a bear, you're loving it. We're under the all-time high anchored V. That's not where you want to be if you're a bull. If you're under it, you know, if you're a bear, you're loving that too. All right, you can see if I put the quad lines on here, and let's measure that off. And I don't think we're in quadrant 4. I think we're neutral. Yeah, we're down here in quadrant 2, so we're neutral. All right, but we're in an uptrend, and we just qualified yesterday making a higher high right there. Okay, so bears could come back and make a lower low. Bears could come back and produce a higher low, produce a lower high, then come in and make a lower low after that. So nothing to get excited about till we get over this midpoint, till we get over this falling 200 SMA, till we get over this all-time high anchored VWAP, okay? Really nothing to get excited about. Okay, so there's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. Again, neutral and in an uptrend. And it just barely inked it out yesterday. Okay, let's take a look at the US dollar index. 101.37 is where we closed on Friday. You can see right here, this is the consolidation zone for 2023, 2024. If you're above it, this bottom, all these valleys down here represent the major support. All the peaks represent the minor support. That's if you're above it. Okay, so But if you're below it, then this represents minor resistance, and that would be major resistance up top there. Okay, so we come into 2025. We move into a 6-month daily downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. From there, we transition into a 12-month bear flag. And in that bear flag, we tried 6 times to break into the 2023-24 consolidation zone right here. And we failed. All right. And then finally, we got an uptrend that finally did make it up in there. We'll see if they can hold that higher ground. That'll be the next test. Okay. They made it up there finally. Now, can they hold it up there? We'll find out. So that would be the U.S. dollar getting stronger. Now, for me, the consumer in me likes a strong dollar. All right. That means my money's going to go further. But the investor in me does not like the strong dollar, because that means our goods and services made here in the USA going to cost more overseas, or whenever we do business with our neighbors, the conversion rate's going to cost them, the buyers, more money. So we will tend not to be as competitive when we have a cheap dollar. So U.S. dollar kind of gaining strength right there. Okay, so that's a dollar index. Let's take a look. We already did the FNGU. Let's take a look at the economic calendar. And let's pull this up. Max pain for today, 733, unless they change it on me. Put the call ratio, 0.87 puts for each call. So that's under 1 put for each call that expires today at 4:15. Let me refresh this, see if anything changed. All right, we'll come back to it. Still 733. Earnings this week. Remember, we got a short week. We're going to be closed on the 3rd in observation of Independence Day on the 4th. Monday, this is today. You can see a lot of familiar names. Only 2 or 3 of them really understand if they're going to report today. I see the Moonlight here. Everybody else is just a non-entry. Okay, so familiar names, nothing here that's going to move the markets here on Monday. Tuesday, what do we got? Nike's a big one, all right. $60 billion, okay. And here's Coca-Cola Euro Pacific again trying to report this week as well. So still can't get it together. Constellation Brands. Again, all familiar names, but not nearly enough market cap to move the indexes, which is pretty much what we trade here in the BYOB trading room. Occasionally we go off the reservation, pick up a few securities that are inside the indexes, but most of the time it's easier for us to trade indexes, and they've got daily options that make it easy for us to trade those. Okay, so here's Tuesday. Again, familiar names. Nothing here that has the market cap that's going to move the needle, all right, for those indexes. Wednesday, what do we got here? More familiar names. All right, nothing here that's going to move the markets or anyways, move the indexes, all right? So T21 is Thursday. Again, another light day, nothing here. So really light week, so nothing to really worry about as far as earnings go, okay? So we got the max pain. We just did the earnings. Let's look at the economic calendar. Today, not much happening today, okay? We've got Dallas Fed Manufacturing Survey at 10:30, and you can see there's no red star next to it, so it's not really a market mover or influencer right there. Tomorrow, we've got Case-Shiller Home Price Index, 9 o'clock. FHFA House Price Index, also 9 o'clock. Chicago PMI 945. Consumer Confidence 10. Jolts at 10 o'clock. And light week. So really light week. Okay, so the main event this week, all right, we got 2 of them. Okay, we got the federal chairman, the new one, Mr. Warsh, is going to speak at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. All right. And the other one is the employment situation at 8:30 on Thursday. Both are capable of moving the markets or providing volatility for the 2 hours that surround them. Okay, so on Wednesday we're going to have Challenger Job Cut Report come out at 5:30 in the morning. MBA Mortgage Applications, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. ADP Employment Report, 8:15. Jobless Claims, 8:30. Mr. Warsh at 9, or Chairman Warsh at 9. PMI Manufacturing Final, 9:45. ISM Manufacturing Index, 10 o'clock. Construction spending at 10, and a petroleum inventory or status report on 10:30. Okay, and we'll visit Thursday when we get closer. You already know who the main events are to watch out for. These are both market movers. If you trade futures, get ready for some volatility around these two times right here, the 9 o'clock and the employment situation on July 2nd right there. Okay, let's take a look at the markets and see what we got going on in the pre-market here. Let's go back to the game plan. Let's put the pre-market activity on there, and let's just look at what's going on. All right, so here's our SPY triangle. Okay, seeing a lot of bullishness come out of the IWM. So possibility we make our way up here. If FNGU ever gets on board, okay, I think we make it up there easily. But there's SPY on the daily chart. Let's take a look at it on the 10, and let's stick the pre-market on there. All right, so you've got all of this price action down here, which is kind of a bear flag right here. I'm just going to box it off right there. And you can see price action over price action. All right, so that's going to give me a bullish bias right there. Okay, I like the idea that you see this top here, and that top there, and this top here, and this top here, and we even have a couple over here. All right, we finally got over those tops right there. Okay, so that's we broke through resistance. All right, now the question is, are we going to break this downtrend line? And that downtrend line exists from connecting that high along with that little peak that runs up right there. So we'll see what happens with that. I can foresee us coming up to probably 450 area and then receiving quite a bit of a little bit of resistance at 450. We've been poking it a couple times here lately, so I think we get some resistance at 450 right up there. So here's the triangle that's possibly going to play out, and I can see us probably getting kind of bogged down 750, maybe 751, 752. Anyways, this is bullish, all right? So I'll be looking for a 5-minute uptrend, all right? Either a 5-minute uptrend or a break of those highs would represent a green erases red entry up there, breaking on top of those highs. So a breakout over 737.80, above that is an entry for me for SPY shares or MES futures. All right, so breakout right over the top of that base that's consolidating up there, and they've been up there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 of these 10-minute candles up there. So I'll be looking for a breakout over that, again, 737.80. Okay, so if they break out over that, probably going to be long some SPY shares and some MES futures. Once the market opens, I'll be looking for some calls, and I'll probably be looking at the 750 calls that expire on It's a short week, okay? So going to expire on Thursday, all right, or Monday, either Thursday or Monday, okay, preferably Thursday though, okay. So some 750 or some 748 calls that expire on Thursday is probably what I'm going to be interested in trading. If I see that 5-minute uptrend manifest, you can see price has gone gapped up and has moving over to the right. So they're planking, they're showing you strength right now, and they're trading over prior price action, so that's bullish. All I'm looking for is a 5-minute uptrend. We could get bogged down, we'll see, and then wind up trading in this range inside this triangle. We'll see what happens, but I don't think so. I think they broke through. I think they're going to come back, test the support area, see if it's going to hold, and then start ramping their way up. I think they start melting their way up. We'll see, okay? So if we get back underneath this area here, underneath 733, all right, I'll be looking for a downtrend underneath 733, all right? So, but right now, I'll be looking for uptrends over, right up here over 737.80, all right? That breakout right there, or a 5-minute uptrend inside there. That's my plan for this morning. Things could change depending upon, president could speak, somebody could hit a red button, anything could happen, okay? But that's pretty much my plan so far this morning, all right? Any questions? If there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and get the video rendered, and I'll come back in 40 minutes and we'll open up the markets and trade them live. Last week we traded, posted here in the room, okay? Posted right up here in the room. We traded this right here, okay? Posted in the room. Okay, so this was on Friday, okay? There's 2 puts to each call that expires today, okay? So we had a put squeeze on the table, all right? And you can see price was going down, okay? The absolute GEX, okay? That would be the gamma exposure strike with the strike with the highest amount of gamma exposure on it, okay? So there's the absolute GEX was 730. And we were below 730, okay? Max pain was 734, okay? Also, we were below that. So, first sign of short side exhaustion on the 2-minute uptrend, or short side, first sign of short side exhaustion or a 2-minute uptrend. I said I plan to be long SPY. I bought SPY calls as soon as that manifested on Friday. You can see the gap down, and then you can see the bullish engulfing right here. This is for Friday, and I traded that all the way up to the top, right up there. Okay, first sign. So big day for me on Friday. Nice, easy day. I was able to read the tea leaves very easily. All right, and I hope you all made money, because that was a nice trade right there, all the way up to the top of that those prior highs made right there. So we got bullish consolidation today, looking for a breakout or a 5-minute uptrend. Breakout over 737.80 or a 5-minute uptrend. I don't think we gap filled today, and it may happen, okay, but I don't really see it happening today. All right, so we'll see what happens this morning, because price is holding that higher ground over the resistance area, so it's kind of holding support. Breaking support would not be good for the market, because probably going to come down and visit these lows. This low, maybe even this low. We'll see what happens. All right, traders, I'll see you in 40 minutes, and we'll trade the market open live.